Okay, this is MXUX. This is Karis.com. These guys are negotiating specialists. Can a negotiation go on too long? Some can be short and quick. Other negotiations can be drawn out with both sides making small concessions but not reaching agreement. Okay? So these are the two options, basically. It's obvious the more complex issues being negotiated are, the longer negotiation is going to last. I think this is relevant with Lordstown right here. Absolutely. Okay. Now, they break down negotiations. Some negotiators use time to control the negotiation. They test patience to see if they can reach an agreement that is favorable to them. And this would be the argument that Foxconn is stalling to, block the agreement to take over the assets. Another alternative would be the stretch out method. Involves extending negotiations over a long period to be able to reveal some uncertainties, e.g., government decisions or a new pricing structure. This is the other side of that coin, and I think this really applies. I mean, if you look at the changes that have, we're watching artillery, we're watching parties shoot artillery at each other in Europe. The price of gasoline has doubled. We had a COVID thing. Anyway, the point is, there are many uncertainties that have developed since the beginning of this negotiation, since it was stated. I mean, just think about it. It's mind blowing. But anyway, so these are the two alternatives. They're either stalling to get, to default to negotiation, or they're stretching it out to reveal some uncertainties. It's obvious the more complex the issues being negotiated, the longer. This is definitely a complex negotiation. A contract manufacturing agreement that who knows what could be involved in. We don't know. There's international and domestic distribution, branding, all kinds of things. Then, if you link that to a joint venture agreement, I mean, the parameters there are just gigantic. So, it is complex. There are uncertainties. So, there is an argument to be made that this is not a takeover, okay? That, for example, Foxconn is trying to control the outcome. I mean, we could toss a coin, it could go either way, but I do believe that these are valid arguments to say that this is a complex negotiation taking place at a time of uncertainties. So it's going to stretch out. Now they've expanded the period even longer based on this call. Again, we could flip a coin. The point I think I want to make as well is, and then this is, I think, the side I come down on this. On the other hand, some issues are too complex and do require lengthy discussions. So I think we got a high level of complexity here. If you include the JV and the contract manufacturing agreement, I mean, it's just, and the changing macro environment that's changing daily. I think that's all part of it. Now, on the other side of this coin is that Foxconn is stretching the negotiation out to take control of Lordstown assets. There's an argument to be made for that. I myself, I've made this point in comments. Uh, Lordstown and Foxconn coming to a mutually beneficial agreement is one thing. Foxconn taking over the assets of Lordstown, Q's Views mentions this. That's a completely different set of circumstances. Those are two completely different outcomes. I think a mutually beneficial agreement is the more favorable of those two. I mean, there is no equivalency between basically a forced takeover and a negotiated contract. Let's say that Foxconn, and there is, a chance of this, takes over the assets, defaults, don't reach an agreement, and they take over the assets. First of all, I think there's going to be lawsuits filed that even if they may be deemed frivolous, eventually they're going to slow down everything, which is not in anybody's interest. But secondly, Foxconn has stated openly they do not know how to build electric vehicles. Okay? Lordstown has 600 employees. Okay? Um, they're going to take over the assets of Lordstown, but slavery is illegal in the United States. They're not going to take over all the workers. Okay. Some may decide to stay, some may not. They may offer people offers to stay. They may resent the fact that Foxconn took over in this manner. And also, this group of employees, although the company is dissolved, I mean, they're still going to exist, and other companies, headhunters, are going to be out looking for them. So, is that really going to? I mean, if you this is a thought exercise, is that going to benefit Foxconn of a forced takeover? I think of these two outcomes, the more favorable one is the negotiated settle contract, so that both parties benefit, and both parties can benefit under this. I think the alternative of a Foxconn takeover, which is a possibility, um, is the worst possible outcome. Okay, and I think if we're at 50-50 now, the last breadcrumb was Fisker's earnings call. Uh, they have been told by the parties that the agreement is on track to be completed. By then was the 14th, and now it's the 18th. But again, I mean, we don't know for sure. But I'm just trying to look into what does it mean when a negotiation is stalled. And these guys, Karis.com, are a very the guy running this is all he does. Okay, and he's highly educated and heavily experienced. So, complex issue. They want maybe they are pushing for a favorable. There's a lot of things here. So maybe Foxconn is stretching it out, or maybe Lordstown is stretching it out to get more favorable terms. Again, to reveal some uncertainties, I'm repeating myself here. I mean, again, I do not think there's an equivalency between a mutually agreed production contract and what ends up being a hostile takeover of the assets of Lordstown Motors. And I don't think the outcomes are equivalent in those two cases, in my opinion. I think the more favorable outcome is the negotiated contract. That's let's say 1% on the way of completing the contract, and the last breadcrumb we have is that it's on track to be settled. That's 2%. So let's say it's 51 to 49 or 52 to 48% skinny bull, in my opinion, that the contract will be reached. But again, no one knows for sure. Everything could fall apart. But that would be my take on it. And I think taking a closer look at what this uh, delay means and what it means in terms of negotiating I think it's actually the most critical factor out of this earnings call. That's my take on it. Okay, we're going to go over a bit. I haven't looked into Adam Kroll's background. He's the new CFO, which Dan Niavaji brought in, or Dan Niavaji approved. I'm sure there was a lot of search committees and so forth. Anyway, October 13, 2021, seems like 100 years ago. Let's just take a quick look at his background here. 25 years of financial, operational. I'm just going to go over the critical things here. Previously served as an investment banker at J.P. Morgan, focused on the automotive industry. Okay, that says volumes. And he oversaw 125 billion in transactions, M&As, capital markets. So, J.P. Morgan, auto industry, 125 billion in transactions. I think we can say he's got the chops there. Let's look at his previous position. And this is with Icahn Motors. Okay. And what the heck is that? Well, let's just see here if we can switch tabs. Here's Icahn Motors. What Icahn Motors is a hydrogen fuel cell long-haul trucking manufacturer. And they're making zero-emission vehicles from diesel to hydrogen. You can see here, hydrogen that works, across technologies, so on and so forth. So what we have basically is a company very similar to Lordstown, fleet vehicles, SAG, battery electric, fuel cell battery electric. Fuel cell vehicles also have batteries. So this is very interesting. I think this is a very interesting background to have. I think, this is pretty much right on spec for Lordstown, and interesting overall. But anyway, he was the chief administrative officer here. Now, I believe this company has just gone public a short time ago, and let's just see here. Now, they've got first quarter. I think this is one of their first reporting periods. I'm not sure on this, but as we can see here, they've sold a few trucks. They're just basically just starting out. Update on 21 deliveries and financial expectations. Okay, so the point is, this is a startup. Again, spot on experience, and from here he went to J.P. Morgan. So he's been around this industry. He's definitely got chops here. Now this is the listing for Icahn, Hyzn, an interesting company. We see the value here. Right now we got a $800 million company, it looks like. Negative PE, no earnings, so on and so forth. Fuel cells, Icahn assembles and supplies hydrogen fuel cell powered commercial vehicles across North America, China, and Australia. builds a clean hydrogen system. Okay, so we've got that down. So that's kind of a publicly traded company, a startup. So this is all very applicable to Lordstown. Here's the Heisen chart. We can see that they have had a fall, and with the recent market and so forth, but this is very similar. I think this is a pattern all the uh, new energy vehicle companies are following here. Um, but that'll give you an idea of the chart. And then let's see here. I do believe we have uh, their revenue was $6,000. So they're pre-revenue startup. All right. And we can see here that they have a negative PE and so forth. But going to this in here. I just wanted to just go over the Adam Kroll's former company. The analyst research on that company is a strong buy. So, very positive read here. And they've got a price target of 883. And they are getting coverage, and JP Morgan is covering Morgan Stanley, Wedbush. So, this is a bona fide startup, and I think this all points to a very strong candidate. I have to say that Dan Niavaji has put together a very good team here. And of course, the CFO is going to be critical going forward. And it's, to my mind, this is a very strong placement for this position at this time in Lordstown Motors. So I think we can have confidence in the CFO. And I think he's going to guide us to production. And then once we get to production, no one is going to, in my personal opinion, at this point in the history of Lordstown Motors, we are not going to get capital infusion without the start of production and the start of commercial production and the delivery of vehicles. And I think that's when Dan Niavaji's influence and role is going to come into play. And also the CFO, as we can see, the CFO has the chops, he has the contacts, he knows the industry, he has a lot of gravitas. I am extremely impressed with Hightower and the CFO. I've done a bit of headhunting in my day, and I do believe this is a great team. Niavaji, Hightower, and Combe is his name, I believe. But anyway, I just have to say that this is a great team, and well, let's just move on to the next section here. Okay, so this is Icahn Enterprises. Okay, publicly traded company and diversified holding company engaged in 7 primary industries, automotive. This is a publicly traded company, and anybody that doesn't know who Carl Icahn is, I don't think I can help you. But anyway, the point here is Dan Niavaji, the head of Lordstown Motors, is, I call him an icon capo. Let's just go over Icahn Enterprises a little bit here. This is what Icahn Enterprises does. Maximize shareholder value through proven activist strategy. Icahn Enterprises seeks undervalued companies and often becomes actively involved in the targeted companies. So, undervalued companies. Undervalued companies. That defines Lordstown Motor, actively involved, requires significant capital and rapid execution. So they're getting the rapid execution. The significant capital is the next step at Lordstown. The IEP approves this activist strategy. Anyway, taking control is the key here. And Dan Niavaji has come in and taken control. And we can look at this as an Icahn maximizing shareholder value strategy. Niavaji has come in using this model. He's taken control. IEP's investments and legal team is capable of unlocking the target company's hidden value. This is what Lordstown is all about. And we're looking at financial balance sheet restructurings. Of course, he brought on board the new CFO. Operational turnaround, exactly what Lordstown is. New strategic initiatives. If the Foxconn joint venture is not a new strategic come on. That is exactly, this is defining what Lordstown is. And corporate governance changes, which is exactly what Dan Niavaji has instituted at Lordstown. So we've got an Icahn capo who has recognized Lordstown as an undervalued company, and he's gotten actively involved, and he's doing rapid execution, and he's taking control, and he's going to do a turnaround. And we have to see this for what it is. This is what's happening at Lordstown, and this Dan Niavaji this is his life. This is what he does. Okay, this is his career. Okay, so let's see if we can move on to the next tab here. One of the big sectors that Icahn works in is automotive. Okay, and they have this is one of the 8 sectors they operate in. Anyway, retail, wholesale, parts, repair, maintenance services, and so forth. So not only does Niavaji have a background in capital, automotive specifically, and parts, and I do believe his experience in parts and knowing about parts manufacturing processes and so forth is why he's interested in Lordstown. He sees the competitive advantage of the hub motor. So again, now this is Icahn Enterprises. We're at 53. It's up 65% on the day. I just wanted to make this point. Market cap. What is that number? 15 billion? What is the dividend? $8. Okay. This is where Dan Niavaji comes from. I mean, this is, as I said, one in 100 people on the planet that has this experience. It may be less than that. Now, let's just take a look at Dan Niavaji's background here. He came on August 26, 21 to Lordstown. Niavaji is the former CEO of Icahn Enterprises. I don't know, corporate apex. What can you say about that? Diversified holding company, controlled by Carl Icahn. Okay, before that, co-CEO of Federal Mogul, which manufactures auto-related stuff. oversaw Icahn Automotive Aftermarket Service Network and Parts Distribution. Uh, Extensive experience as a director of public companies. Okay, people, the naysayers out there, you know, they they have not looked into this. This is this is a I don't know how to say it. There could not be a better fit. I mean, of the available talent, I don't know what the available talent was, but I am telling you, this is a great fit for Lordstown at this time. I mean, this is someone that knows what he's doing. Okay, so as far as the negotiations with Foxconn, I don't know. Do you think this guy is going to? I mean, I think this is another percentage point in the favor of a completed negotiation. I think that Niavaji, you know, I mean, people that are saying, oh, this isn't going to work. Do you really think? I mean, I don't know. This is my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an engineer. Do your own DD. This is a high risk investment. But do you really think a guy with this background is going to do anything but an equitable deal? Do you? I mean, I have confidence that he would not let the shareholders down. Anything can happen. But I think the purpose of this response to the earnings call is there are all of these percentage points that are going from a 50-50 of bad outcome, good outcome. We're now at what, 58 percent, or 53, 54% in favor of a good outcome for Lordstown Motors on this deal. I think that is, if we're going to talk about this contract negotiation and the factors involved in it, and please look at my past videos on this market and so forth and the market opportunity. If we take this into account as well, I think the scale is tipping, in my opinion, and only in my opinion, towards a favorable outcome, which is a mutually beneficial negotiated agreement, joint venture and manufacturing contract, contract manufacturing contract for the Endurance for Lordstown Motors. I think the alternative to that with essentially a hostile takeover by Foxconn of the assets of Lordstown Motors, I think that is a lower percentage outcome, in my opinion. And yes, Foxconn can take control of all the IP and everything, but they're not going to have control of the people. They're going to face lawsuits. And it's just not the same. There is no equivalency between taking over the assets and having a mutually beneficial agreement. It's not an equivalent outcome. I think the default position is it's a fallback position for Foxconn in case nothing works out. But I don't know. This is just my opinion. And going by the last breadcrumb from Fisker saying that the agreement is on track, along with this information presented here, I mean, again, skinny bull, in my opinion, for the contract coming through. I have confidence in these I mean, how can you not have confidence in these individuals representing the company? This is on the outside of the risk envelope. Guys, do your own DD. If you're hodling, this is probably information you're going to want to see. If you're looking to invest, you have to realize that this is on the outside edge of the risk envelope, and any investment could result in a catastrophic loss. I mean, there are any number of things that could happen that might trigger that. I'm simply trying to look at the information here from a different perspective than other YouTubers and give my point of view on what I think this outcome is going to be. And anyway, just getting back to things here, the endurance truck with its innovative hub motor design will capture a meaningful share of the market with an absolute focus on execution. Again, what did I said the rest of this video? He realizes the hub motor design. He knows the market share that's out there, and he's executing. So, anyway, this is MXUX. I hope you like this presentation, a little unconventional presentation on the earnings call. I'm going to wrap this up. Okay, I just want to do a real quick wrap up here. Look, the call was pretty much as I expected. We knew the decision was going to be put off. As far as the capital raise goes that was implied or stated, we all knew this. I stated this on many videos ago. DJ Dan stated it on the last call. From the very beginning, this is the nature of startups in the auto industry. There's always a capital raise involved. I think that the production on the Lordstown Endurance, the most important thing here is not the production volume. The most important thing is startup production, startup commercial production, SCP. Once they sell a unit, then the fundraising will start, and the CFO and DJ Dan will take center stage. Let's wait and see what the outcome on the agreement is. You all know my opinion is a skinny bull from this video. All right, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I appreciate it.